Welcome to the deep dive, everybody.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're diving into a true crime story.
Oh, okay.
And the story comes from just one source.
One source, yeah.
The Wondery podcast, 48 Hours Live to Tell, subtitled Soul Survivor. And
Okay.
it's about, like, a horrific event, but it also explores...
It's about what?
It explores resilience
Okay, got it.
and survival.
Yeah, well, I think what's so compelling about this story is that we experience it all through the eyes of a child.
Right.
But, I mean, it makes you wonder,
Right.
how do we even try to make sense of something so senseless, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you even begin to recover from something so traumatic?
It's almost unfathomable, right?
Yeah.
Like, instead of giving you just a typical overview, let's just start right in the thick of things.
Let's do it.
Imagine you're 10 years old.
Okay.
You're Robin Dawn. It's, the middle of the night.
Okay.
You're in the Texas Panhandle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're suddenly woken up by gunshots.
Oh, my God.
And your mother's screaming.
Oh, that's awful.
I mean, talk about a nightmare scenario, right?
It's the worst. I mean, no child should ever have to face that.
No.
That's where our story begins.
So Robin, right, she's caught in this
Yeah.
fight or flight response.
Yeah.
And she makes this split-second decision
Oh, wow.
that ends up saving her life.
What does she do?
She plays dead
Oh, my gosh.
for 2.5 hours.
What?
She remains perfectly still,
Oh.
even as the shooter enters her room
Oh, no.
and fires a shot at her. I mean,
Oh, my God.
you can't even comprehend, right? The mental fortitude
The strength.
to endure that level of terror
Yeah.
and uncertainty,
Yeah, especially for a child.
especially for a child.
Wow.
But it's a testament, to the
Yeah.
incredible survival instincts
Yeah.
that we have.
That can just kick in
Right.
at moments of extreme stress.
Yeah. And the story doesn't stop there.
Oh.
She escapes the house
Uh-huh.
and makes a frantic 911 call
Oh, gosh.
from a remote area,
Wow.
which leads to this desperate search by first responders.
Okay.
I mean, this 911 call is chilling.
I bet.
You can hear the terror in her voice, the confusion.
Yeah.
She's desperately pleading for her mother.
Oh, jeez.
And it's just, this call becomes the first piece of the puzzle
Oh, okay.
for the investigators who are racing against time
Right.
to figure out what happened in this isolated farmhouse.
So they're starting from scratch.
What's really striking to me is the contrast, right, between the ordinariness of the farmhouse
Okay.
and the absolute horror of the crime scene.
Yeah.
Investigators describe the home as
Oh.
like reflecting a normal family life.
Mm-hmm.
Like coffee cups set out
Right.
for the next morning.
Wow.
Evidence of a family preparing for, a new arrival.
Oh, wow.
And it just makes the violence that erupted there all the more jarring.
Yeah, that juxtaposition
Right.
really underscores the randomness of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so early on, the investigators, they encounter all these roadblocks.
Oh, well.
There's no DNA, no fingerprints.
Mm.
But amidst all this chaos,
Yeah.
there's this one crucial piece of evidence,
What's that?
unique shell casing
Shell casings.
found at the scene.
Okay.
And this seemingly insignificant detail ends up being like the linchpin of the investigation.
Wow. Okay.
You see, those shell casings connect the Texas murders
Uh-huh.
to a seemingly unrelated case
Wow.
hundreds of miles away in Missouri.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now we have another crime scene.
Okay.
An elderly man and his daughter-in-law
Uh-huh.
found murdered in their Missouri home.
Oh, gosh.
And what do you know?
What?
Connects these two tragedies.
Tell me.
Those distinctive shell casings.
Oh, wow.
It's like something out of a crime drama,
I know, right?
except it's all too real.
Absolutely.
And it leads investigators straight to their suspect,
Okay, who is it?
23-year-old Levi King.
Levi King.
And Levi King's this troubled young man, right?
Yeah.
He's got a history of violence,
Uh-huh.
a prior conviction for burglary and arson,
Oh, wow.
and when he's finally apprehended
Yeah.
in El Paso,
Uh-huh.
after a chase, he confesses to the Missouri murders.
Yeah, okay.
But then he drops a bombshell.
Oh, what's that?
There's 4 more in Texas.
Oh, my gosh.
So this confession obviously raises so many questions for
Of
you.
course. Yeah.
What was his motivation for even volunteering this information?
Yeah, why would he say that?
Was it remorse?
Right.
A bid for notoriety?
Right.
Or something else entirely?
Who knows?
And we'll, discuss this more later on.
Okay.
But first, let's sort of delve into the legal proceedings, like the differing approaches to justice in Missouri and Texas.
Sure.
I mean, it's just fascinating how the same crimes
can be treated so differently depending on the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So in Missouri, a plea deal spares King from the death penalty.
Wow.
But in Texas, the DA remains steadfast in seeking the ultimate punishment.
Oh, wow.
This difference, I think, highlights this
ongoing
debate, surrounding capital punishment in the U.S. Is it about retribution, deterrence, or something else altogether? What does justice even look like in a case like this, you know? I mean, those are really heavy questions, right?
Yeah, they are.
And it's remarkable, I think, to witness Robin's strength throughout these trials. She delivers this powerful courtroom testimony.
Wow.
And in this extraordinary display of grace, she makes the decision to forgive King.
Wow, that's
almost beyond comprehension, right?
Almost,
Yeah, just imagine enduring such trauma, losing your entire family.
Right.
And then finding it within yourself to forgive the perpetrator. Her story is truly remarkable, right? It makes you think about the capacity...
The human spirit,
of the human spirit to find peace and healing, even in the face of just unimaginable suffering.
I mean, forgiveness is such a complex concept, especially in cases like this.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on, like, the power of forgiveness in the context of this kind of trauma, right? I mean, it's a personal journey, right?
Yeah.
And it can manifest itself in many ways.
Yeah.
For some, it's about letting go of the anger and the bitterness.
Yeah.
And for others, it's about finding a way to move forward without being defined by the past.
Right.
It's not about, like, condoning what happened, but rather about releasing those negative emotions.
Right.
That can consume a survivor.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense. So while the legal system, focuses on justice, Robin embarks on this parallel journey. A journey of healing and self-discovery. We see her grapple, with the devastating effects of PTSD.
Oh, yeah.
The nightmares, the fear of the dark, the constant echoes of her mother's screams.
Oh, that's awful.
These are the invisible wounds, right? That linger long after the physical scars have healed, you know? And it really highlights the lasting impact of trauma, especially on a child's developing mind.
Yeah, of course.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
But what's truly inspiring, is her determination to not let this tragedy define her.
Good for her.
She actively seeks normalcy. She engages in sports. She excels in school. And she just strives to create a life filled with purpose.
Right.
You know, this commitment to living a full life, despite the horrors she's experienced, is incredibly powerful.
It really is.
And it's not just about, like, external achievements, right? She also demonstrates remarkable strength in her internal struggles.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those internal battles, right? Are often the most difficult ones to overcome.
Exactly, yeah.
She still grapples with the psychological scars of that night. The nightmares, the fear of the dark, the recurring echoes of her mother's screams. I mean, these are the invisible wounds that can haunt a survivor long after the physical ones have healed.
Exactly, yeah.
It makes you realize, right? That healing from trauma is not a linear process.
It's not, no.
It's an ongoing journey. With its own unique challenges and setbacks.
For sure.
And what's interesting here is that Robin chooses not to pursue traditional therapy.
Really?
She finds solace and support within her close circle of family and those law enforcement officers who've become like a second family.
Wow. Okay.
It's a testament, I think, to the diverse ways in which people can cope with trauma, you know? It highlights the importance of just finding what works best for the individual.
Exactly, yeah.
Whether it's therapy, support groups, faith, or simply the love and understanding of those closest to them. I think her story also highlights just the importance of community support.
It does.
You know, these officers, they went above and beyond the call of duty, right?
They did.
Providing not only emotional support, but tangible assistance, like establishing that scholarship fund to secure her future.
Wow.
It really speaks volumes, right?
It does.
About their compassion and commitment to her well-being. They recognize, I think, the long-term impact of such trauma.
Yeah.
And they choose to invest in her future.
Wow.
Providing resources and opportunities that might have otherwise been out of reach, you know?
Yeah, I know.
It's just a beautiful example of how individuals can step up and make a tangible difference in someone's life, especially, you know, when systems or traditional support structures may not be enough.
Exactly.
These officers, they witnessed the worst of humanity in that crime scene. Yet they choose to focus on the good, on the potential for healing and growth, you know? I mean, their actions really speak to a fundamental belief in the resilience of the human spirit, in the power of community, and in the importance of offering hope and support to those who need it most. You know?
And it's this sense of hope, I think, that really shines through in Robin's story.
Absolutely.
Despite, the unimaginable loss, the enduring trauma, she chooses to embrace life.
Good for her.
To forgive. And to search for meaning.
Wow.
It's a powerful testament, right?
It is,
to the strength of the human spirit.
Yeah. So welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were talking about the random nature of the crime, right? And how there's just no clear motive. And I think, you know, that really adds to this unsettling nature of this whole story.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to process, you know, the trauma of the event. But the absence of a why, you know, that can be incredibly difficult to grapple with.
Exactly. It leaves us with this sense of unease, right? It's a reminder that, you know, these terrible things can happen and there's just no logical explanation. You know, it challenges our need for order.
Totally. And understanding in the world. And for Robin, you know, this search for meaning, I think that becomes this central part of her healing journey.
Yeah, it's almost as if she's trying to find like a reason for her survival, right? Amidst this senseless loss.
Exactly.
This desire, you know, to make sense of the tragedy is something that like so many survivors struggle with.
Absolutely. I think it's like a natural human response. To just try to search for a purpose in the face of suffering. Why was she spared? What is her purpose now? I think these are the questions that really drive her. To seek out this life that's filled with meaning and impact.
It's inspiring to see, I think, how she just channels that. Search into action, right? Like she doesn't let this trauma consume her. Instead, she just like embraces life, pursues, you know, things like sports, academics with this like newfound determination.
It's a testament to, you know, her resilience, right? I mean, she could have easily succumbed to the overwhelming grief and fear. But instead, she chooses to like actively engage with the world, seeking that normalcy, that purpose.
This commitment to living a full life, right? Despite, you know, the horrors she's experienced. It's incredibly powerful.
It is. It is.
And it's not just about, you know, external achievements, right? Robin, I think, also demonstrates just this remarkable strength in her internal struggles.
Of course. Yeah, those internal battles, right? Those are often like the most difficult to overcome.
She still grapples with the psychological scars of that night. You know, the nightmares. The fear of the dark.
The echoes.
The echoes of her mother's scream.
Those are the invisible wounds, right? That haunt a survivor long after the physical ones have healed.
It makes you realize, right, that healing from trauma is not, you know, a linear process. It's an ongoing journey, you know, with its own unique challenges and setbacks.
For sure.
And what's interesting here, right, is that Robin chooses not to pursue like traditional therapy.
Really?
Instead, she finds solace and support, you know, within her close circle of family. And those law enforcement officers who've become like a second family.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's a testament, I think, to the diverse ways that people can cope with trauma.
Absolutely.
It highlights the importance of just finding what works best for the individual, right? Whether it's therapy, support groups, faith,
right,
or just simply the love and understanding
exactly,
of those closest to them.
Yeah.
And I think her story also really highlights the importance of, community support.
It does, yeah, those officers, right? They went above and beyond.
They went above and beyond the call of duty, right?
Yeah, they really did.
Providing not only emotional support, but tangible assistance, like establishing that scholarship fund to secure her future.
Wow.
It speaks volumes, I think, about their compassion.
Absolutely.
And commitment to her well-being,
Yeah.
They recognize the long-term impact of such trauma.
For sure.
And choose to invest in her future, providing, resources and opportunities that might have otherwise been out of reach.
Wow.
It's just a beautiful example, I think, of, how individuals can step up and make a tangible difference in someone's life.
Yeah.
Especially when, systems or traditional support structures may not be enough.
Exactly. Those officers, they witnessed the worst of humanity, right?
They witnessed the worst of humanity.
In that crime scene.
Yeah,
and yet they choose to focus on the good.
Yeah, the potential for healing and growth.
Yeah, their actions speak to this fundamental belief in the resilience of the human spirit, in the power of community, and the importance of offering hope and support to those who need it most.
And it's the sense of hope, right, that really shines through in Robin's story.
It does.
Despite the unimaginable loss, the enduring trauma, she chooses to embrace life, to forgive.
Good for her.
And to search for meaning. It's a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit.
Yes, it really is. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore the lasting impact of this experience on Robin's life, and we'll also delve into a lingering question that the podcast left unanswered.
It's amazing how Robin just chooses to focus on healing and growth,
Yeah.
rather than succumbing to, anger and bitterness.
It really is a remarkable display of strength and resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, many people, right, might understandably, harbor resentment towards Levi King.
Of course, yeah.
But, Robin takes a different path. She makes this conscious decision to forgive him.
It really makes you think about, the nature of forgiveness, right? Is it about absolving the perpetrator?
Right.
Or is it about freeing yourself
Yeah.
from, the burden of anger and resentment?
Yeah.
In Robin's case, it seems to be about finding peace.
Right.
And moving forward.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, especially in cases of extreme trauma, right?
Yeah.
It is a deeply personal journey.
Yeah.
And it's not about condoning the act.
Right.
It's about releasing those negative emotions.
Right.
That can hold you captive.
And in this case, forgiveness, it seems to empower her.
It does, yeah.
It allows her to focus on, her own healing and growth.
Yeah.
Rather than being consumed by the actions of, the perpetrator.
Exactly.
And this, I think, ties into the idea of, finding meaning in the aftermath of tragedy. While she may never fully understand why she was spared.
Right, of course, yeah.
She actively searches for her purpose.
Right.
Believing that there's a reason for her survival.
Yeah, it's like she's taking this horrific experience and transforming it into a driving force for good, right?
Yeah.
So instead of being defined by this tragedy, she uses it as fuel for her own personal growth and her desire to make a positive impact on the world.
It's almost like she's turning her pain into purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This search for meaning becomes a central part of her identity.
Right.
Shaping her aspirations, influencing her choices.
And that's a powerful testament, right, to the resilience of the human spirit.
It shows us that even in the darkest moments, we have this ability to choose hope.
Right.
To find meaning.
Yeah.
And to create a life that honors the memory of those we've lost.
Her story also raises, some interesting questions about the role of faith, spirituality, and coping with trauma, right?
Right.
Robin often speaks about her faith
Yeah.
as a source of strength and guidance.
Right. It's a reminder that, healing can take many forms.
Yeah.
And draw upon many sources of support.
Right.
I think faith, for a lot of people, provides a sense of comfort, purpose, and connection to something larger than themselves.
And in Robin's case,
Yeah.
it seems to provide this framework for understanding her experience.
Yeah.
And for finding meaning amidst, the chaos.
Absolutely.
The suffering.
Yeah, but even with, her incredible resilience and this strong support system, she still experiences, the lingering effects of that night.
Of that traumatic night, yeah.
The nightmares.
The nightmares,
Fear of the dark.
Right.
Echoes of her mother's screams. These are all reminders, right?
Yeah.
That healing from trauma is an ongoing process.
It highlights the complexity of trauma, right?
It does.
And the fact that, even with time and support, those scars can resurface unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And it's important to acknowledge, right?
Yeah.
That healing is not, a linear journey. And there will be ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure.
Along the way.
Yeah.
Now, let's address this lingering question.
Okay.
That wasn't explicitly answered, in the podcast.
Okay.
Did Levi King truly choose his victims randomly,
right,
as the investigation suggests? Or, was there a connection that was never uncovered?
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
That randomness is already unsettling enough.
Yeah.
But the possibility, right, of this unknown connection, it just adds like another layer of mystery and unease.
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
If there were like missed clues or, if there's more to the story than we know.
Yeah, it also speaks to like the limits of our understanding, right?
Yeah.
Even with thorough investigations, some aspects of a crime may remain shrouded in mystery forever.
Forever.
And that uncertainty, I think, can be really hard to reconcile.
Yeah.
Especially for those who are, directly impacted by the crime.
Of course, yeah.
It leaves us grappling with unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And this sense of unease.
Yeah.
About the unpredictable nature of violence.
Violence and evil.
Yeah.
Well, this deep dive into Soul Survivor has been incredibly emotional.
It has.
We've explored the depths of human cruelty and, the randomness of violence.
Yeah.
But we've also witnessed, I think, this extraordinary resilience.
Absolutely.
Of the human spirit, the power of forgiveness,
Yes.
And the importance of community support.
Yeah.
In the face of like unimaginable tragedy.
Yeah, Robin's story is a testament, right?
Yeah.
To the strength.
Yeah.
That lies within us all. This capacity to find hope and healing even in the darkest moments.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that even amidst suffering, we have the power to choose how we respond, how we heal, how we live our lives.
And if you're interested in learning more about this captivating story, I highly recommend listening to the full episode, 48 Hours, Live to Tell Soul Survivor, from Wondery.
It's a good one.
It's a story that will stay with you. It prompts reflection, I think.
It does.
On the resilience of the human spirit, the profound impact of trauma and healing.
It is.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.